Hello and welcome to Staffworks Explained. This is a channel dedicated to exploring different topical issues from across the globe, but with a special focus on Africa. Join us as we delve into captivating subjects such as groundbreaking projects, current affairs, inspiring initiatives, among others. Our goal is to provide you with valuable insights and knowledge, shedding lights on the remarkable developments taking place across the globe. We strive to keep you informed and engaged. Get ready to embark on an enlightening journey with Staffworks Explained, where curiosity meets discovery. In today's video, we'll be talking about South Africa energy crisis. If it's your first time here, please subscribe to this channel. For repeat viewers, we thank you for the support that you have accorded this channel through views, likes, shares, and comments. As we know, South Africa is experiencing serious energy crisis, and it has been grappling with a pressing power crisis, which are characterized by persistent shortages, rolling blackouts, or what is known as load shedding. In this video, we explore the potential causes of this problem and the far-reaching impacts that this is having to the country. Is this a warning that was not heeded? In a white paper on the energy policy of Republic of South Africa, which was published by the Department of Minerals and Energy in 1998, there was a warning that the challenges that the country might face in future in the energy sector. The paper acknowledged the need for transformative measures within the state-owned entities, governance principles, socio-economic welfare, and attitudes towards national energy resources. The paper emphasized the importance of addressing these challenges during the formulation of energy policy. It specifically highlighted the necessity of maintaining a balance between energy and demand and supply, and as well as considering the environmental factors when utilizing natural energy resources. Moreover, the paper emphasized the need for clear differentiation between the government's roles as a policy maker, regulator, and energy service facilitator. But despite these warnings and recommendations, it appears that the subsequent actions that were supposed to be taken were not taken, and whatever was taken did not adequately address the issues that were raised. As we explore the possible causes of South African energy crisis, we must consider the missed opportunities and the consequences of not heeding the early warnings in shaping the effective energy strategy for the country. So a warning was given in 1998, but this warning was not heeded. So could this be the cause of all these problems that South Africa is experiencing? These missed opportunities has caused to an imbalance between demand and supply. The energy crisis in South Africa can be attributed to significant imbalance between energy demand and supply. The country's energy demand has consistently outpaced the growth of its energy supply, leading to the current crisis. To understand the scale of this demand-supply imbalance, let's examine the statistics. According to the data that was released by International Energy Agency, IEA, South Africa's primary energy demand increased by approximately 72% in the last 3 decades. That's between 1990 and 2022. In 1990s, the country's total primary energy demand was around 52 million tons of oil equivalent, MTOE. Well, 30 years later, it has risen to about 89 MTOE. During the same period, South Africa energy supply has struggled to keep pace with the rising demand. The EIA data reveals that primary energy supply only increased by around 47% in that period, that is between 1990s and 2022. In the 1990s, the country's total primary energy supply stood at approximately 69 MTO, while 3 decades later, it has reached around 102 or 120 MTOE, almost doubling. This demand-supply imbalance has been worsened by the inadequate development of energy facilities in South Africa. While the country has made efforts to expand its energy infrastructure, the pace of construction has lagged behind the increasing demand. One notable example is the construction of coal-fired power plants, which have been the primary source of electricity in South Africa. The country's largest power station, Medupi Power Station, located in Limpopo, was commissioned in 2015 and has the capacity of 4,764 megawatts. Similarly, Kusile Power Station, also a coal-fired plant, was commissioned in 2020 with a capacity of 4,800 megawatts. The power stations were intended to boost the energy supply, but their construction faced significant delays and cost overruns, further worsening the energy crisis in this country. In recent years, South Africa has made efforts to diversify its energy mix and incorporate renewable energy sources. The Renewable Energy Independent Power Producers Procurement Program was launched in 2011 to attract private investors in renewable energy projects. As a result, several renewable energy facilities have been built, including wind farms, solar energy or solar plants. For instance, the Sere wind farm, which was commissioned in 2014, has a capacity of producing 100 megawatts, while the Jasper solar PV plant, which was commissioned in 2014, has a capacity of producing 97 megawatts. However, the developments of renewable energies has not been sufficient to bridge the gap and alleviate the energy crisis. The imbalance between demand and supply, coupled with delays in infrastructure projects, has left South Africa vulnerable to power shortages and rolling blackouts, or what is popularly known as load shedding. The energy crisis in South Africa is primarily as a result of persistent imbalance between energy demand and supply. Despite the construction of coal-fired plants and efforts to introduce renewable sources, the pace of infrastructure development has not matched the demand, which has been rising year by year. The imbalance has contributed to the current energy crisis, leading to the problems that the country is experiencing as far as energy is concerned. A question that we have to ask ourselves: is South Africa a victim of its own success? South Africa can be seen as a victim of its own success when considering the energy crisis, as the country's economic growth and industrialization has significantly increased energy demand over the years. The surge in the demand has put immense pressure on the existing energy infrastructure, leading to the current crisis. Since the democratic transition in 1994, South Africa has experienced substantial economic growth and industrial development. According to the World Bank data, the country's GDP has grown at an average of around 3.10% between 1994 and 2022. This sustained growth has resulted to increased urbanization, expansion of industries, and the rise of living standards among many South Africans. However, the rapid pace of economic development has outpaced the country's energy generation and distribution capabilities. During this period, South Africa's energy demand has surged. According to the statistics from Eskom, the state-owned energy utility, electricity demand more than doubled from 1994 to 2022. In 1994, the country's consumption was around 148,544 gigawatts hours, while by 2022 it had sold to 300,375 gigawatts. This significant growth in energy demand is a testament to the success of the South African economic progress and increasing energy needs of its industry and population. The industrial sector in particular has played a crucial role in driving energy demand. Industries such as mining, manufacturing, and construction have expanded rapidly, requiring substantial amount of electricity to power their operations. For instance, between 1994 and 2022, mining and quarrying sector output grew by an average of 1.4%, while manufacturing sector output grew by an average of 1.8% per year. The country's economic growth has also led to increased urbanization and growing middle class, resulting in rise in household energy consumption. As more households gained access to electricity, the demand for power-intensive appliances, lighting, and other electrical devices increased significantly. Unfortunately, the infrastructure and generation capacity have struggled to keep pace with surging demand in this country. South Africa heavily relies on coal power, and the aging coal-fired power plants have faced maintenance challenges and breakdowns, further worsening the crisis. Insufficient investment in new power generation projects and delayed introduction of renewable energy sources have added this strain on the energy system. South Africa's energy crisis can be attributed to remarkable economic growth and industrialization. The high rates of economic expansion and industrial development have led to a surge in demand, which has outstripped supply and existing capacity. As a result, South Africa finds itself grappling with energy deficit, with severe implications for economic productivity, quality of life, and country's ability to meet energy demand for its growing population and industries. Another argument that has been put forward in an attempt to explain the energy crisis in South Africa is that the country has been slow to diversify its energy mix, as well as invest in alternative energy sources. The country has been relatively slow in this diversification attempt. Historically, the country has heavily relied on coal for energy generation, with coal-fired plants accounting for almost 80% of the energy production in this country. While coal has been reliable and enough resource, it has contributed to environmental issues such as air pollution and greenhouse gas emissions. The development of energy sources such as renewable energy has been relatively slower compared to other countries in the continent and also in the global arena. South Africa has significant renewable energy potential, including solar, biomass, among others. However, the pace of adopting and integrating these sources into the energy mix has been constrained by various factors, including policy uncertainties, regulatory challenges, and limited investment in renewable energy infrastructure. In recent years, South Africa has made efforts to diversify or to increase its energy mix and promote renewable energy. There has been development of a program, Renewable Energy Independent Power Producers Procurement Program, which was done in 2011. This has facilitated the procurement of renewable energy projects through competitive bidding process. This program has led to additional renewable energy capacity to the grid, but overall share of renewable in the energy mix is relatively low, at around less than 14%. It is worth noting that South Africa has made some progress in recent years with an increasing focus on renewable energy and commitment to reduce carbon emission. However, the transition to a more diversified and sustainable energy mix requires continued investment, policy stability, and supportive regulatory frameworks. The issue of aging infrastructure cannot be missed out. This is one of the areas that has been pointed out and it has contributed greatly to energy crisis in South Africa. Aging infrastructure and maintenance challenges has been significant in explaining these energy sectors crisis in South Africa. The success and growth of the sector have not always been accompanied by sufficient investment in infrastructure maintenance, upgrades, and this has led to various problems. One of the main challenges is the aging power generating infrastructure, particularly in the coal-fired plants. Many of these plants were built several years ago and require regular maintenance and upgrades to ensure that they are reliable and efficient in their operation. However, the lack of adequate investment in maintenance has resulted in increased breakdowns, capacity constraints, and risk of blackouts. Additionally, transmission and distribution infrastructure, including the grid network, also face challenges due to aging and inadequate maintenance. These issues can lead to transmission losses, power outages, and limitations in effectively delivering electricity to consumers. Insufficient investment in these types of infrastructure can be attributed to various factors, which include financial constraints, limited government funding, regulatory challenges, competing priorities within the energy sector. The need for infrastructure maintenance and upgrade often compete with other pressing issues, such as expanding access to electricity, addressing affordability concerns, and transitioning to cleaner energy sources. To address these challenges, there is a growing recognition of the need for increased investment in infrastructure and upgrades. Efforts are being made to improve financial sustainability of state-owned power utility ESCOM, which plays a crucial role in the energy sector in South Africa. Additionally, initiatives to attract private investment and public-private partnerships are being pursued to mobilize funding for infrastructure development. Overall, addressing the aging infrastructure and maintenance challenges is important to ensure that there is a reliable and resilient energy sector in this country. It requires a combination of financial investment, effective regulatory frameworks, and long-term planning to modernize and upgrade the energy infrastructure in South Africa. Sabotage and corruption also feature prominently in an attempt to explain the energy crisis in South Africa. Instances of sabotage and corruption at the state-owned energy facility ESCOM have been worsening this crisis by hampering maintenance efforts and also increasing expenses. Evidence of deliberate sabotage, including severing of steel supports and collapsing of power supply pylon, has been discovered in various parts, indicating acts of sabotage which are aimed at damaging electrical infrastructure. Despite the investigation and disciplinary actions, acts of sabotage have persisted at multiple plants, with cables being intentionally cut, rising theft and corruption surrounding fuel oil supply. These acts of hooliganism, corruption, and sabotage have significantly worsened the energy crisis and impeded ESCOM's ability to address the situation. Speculation suggests that these acts of sabotage may be politically motivated by people or groups within the ESCOM fraternity. In response to escalating threats of sabotage, theft, vandalism, and corruption, the South African National Defence Force has been deployed severally to ESCOM power stations to ensure that this does not happen. This measure was taken to safeguard the facility and also fight ongoing challenges. Controversially, the former CEO of ESCOM revealed that 4 criminal syndicates have infiltrated the national utility, implicating named people and claiming that the government lacked the necessary political will to address the situation. The CEO attributed a significant portion of load shedding problem to crime and corruption. Overall, incidents of sabotage and corruption at ESCOM have prolonged the energy crisis in South Africa, preventing maintenance efforts, increasing costs, and undermining the utility ability to provide stable and reliable power supply in South Africa. And now to popular load shedding, a term that is very popular in South Africa but also very annoying. In fact, people have made some memes about it. Load shedding has been persistent in South Africa, primarily caused by the country's heavy reliance on aging coal-fired plants. Maintenance needs and breakdown lead to unplanned outages, reducing the availability of electricity supply. Furthermore, the unreliable coal supply due to operational problems and labor strikes has worsened the situation. To address these problems, South Africa has been gradually shifting its energy mix from coal to renewable sources like wind and solar. While progress has been slow, the government has shown commitment to procuring renewable energy and reducing GHG greenhouse gases. However, the transition to renewable poses challenges, including the intermittent nature of wind and solar power, which can result in variable power supply and limited availability during the peak periods. Since 2007, South Africa has been faced with multiple episodes of load shedding, with electricity demand surpassing the supply capacity of ESCOM, the national utility power. During this period, power is rationed across different grids, areas, and municipalities, with the outages lasting for a few hours. Some regions experience more frequent load shedding due to disparities in local power generation capabilities and distribution challenges. ESCOM has implemented various stages of load shedding, each representing a reduction of 1,000 megawatts of demand through controlled shutdowns based on predefined schedules. The stages may vary depending on location. Stage 6 with a reduction of 6,000 megawatts. This was first implemented in 2019. Despite South Africans having found themselves facing a frustrating reality of load shedding, in the midst of inconvenience and disruption, they have managed to keep their spirit high through wave of hilarious memes that have flooded the social media platform. These memes serve as a form of collective catharsis, allowing people to share their frustrations while finding humor in the situation. From the clever captions of witty visuals, these memes showcase the resilience and creativity of South Africans in turning the challenging circumstances into a source of laughter. It is inspiring to see how humor becomes a coping mechanism, fostering a sense of happiness and reminding people that they are not alone in this struggle. These light-hearted moments of comic relief help to uplift people's mood, provide a much-needed break from the frustration, and bring sense of unity during the darker times of load shedding. Through their humor, South Africans demonstrate the ability to find joy and resilience even in the face of adversity during the energy crisis or during the load shedding moments. Now that we have looked at the causes of this energy crisis or the potential causes of this energy crisis, what impact has this had on South Africa? The energy crisis in South Africa has a wide range of negative impacts on various aspects of society. Economically, the crisis has prevented the country's growth and made it more challenging to conduct business, leading to potential job losses and reduced revenue for both corporations and small businesses. The cost of replacing appliances damaged by power surges during the load shedding has surpassed the cost of replacing stolen goods due to burglaries. The estimated cost of resolving the energy crisis within the 3 years is projected to be around 500 billion rands, which is equivalent to 28 billion US dollars. The health sector has been significantly affected too, with 80% of public health facilities experiencing power cuts. This has compromised patient care, particularly in rural areas, leading to long waiting lists for surgical procedures and declining health standards. The lack of reliable power has forced nurses to rely on mobile phone, torchlights, and cooler boxes to store vaccines and medicine. The energy crisis has also contributed to increase in crime rates. Metal theft, equipment theft from power stations, and robberies have surged during videos in future.